My fiancé slept with my brother, so I triggered the sale of their home and took all money back. My mother said, they are in love. My brother smiled, she made a good choice. And my father finished it with, you were never enough for her. I just replied, thanks for showing me who you are. 4 months later, I made a decision that changed everything. Now they will not stop calling me. I never imagined I would end up writing this, much less that I would feel so out of place in what used to be my own family. But here I am. I am not a writer. I'm not even sure where to begin. I just know I need to get this off my chest. Maybe someone who has been through something similar can understand. Maybe not. Anyway, here it goes. It all started with a strange feeling, the kind that makes you think something is wrong, but you do not know exactly what. It was November when I first noticed it. My fiancée, Claudia, suddenly became very private with her phone. She did not use it to browse like before. Instead, she only looked at it when she received messages and always hid it if I walked by. I asked her why, and she just said it was her friend's group chat. I did not want to press the issue. Claudia was always very social, and I not so much. Around that same time, my brother Ivan came back to town for the holidays. He had been away for months, and as always, my parents welcomed him like a celebrity. To them, everything Ivan does is wonderful. I, on the other hand, am the son who is just there, the one who never shines. I have never felt hatred towards my brother, but I do feel a lot of resentment for how they treat him. He was always the favorite, the one who took shortcuts and still received praise. I was plan B, the backup. And suddenly, Claudia started helping him get settled in again, accompanying him, showing him places. At first, I did not see it as anything strange. Claudia got along well with him, and my family are experts at getting involved in everything. But over time, the visits became more frequent. One day, I called her and she said she was at home, but I clearly heard Ivan laughing in the background. I found it odd, but I thought maybe they just did not want me around. I decided to ignore it. There was no reason to be suspicious, right? Still, the little things started to add up. I would ask her to come see me, and she always had an excuse. She had to help my mother. She was exhausted. But then she would post photos of dinners. In one of them, I could see Ivan's red jacket, the one he always wears. That is when a horrible idea started to form in my head, but I resisted it. It could not be what I was thinking. And then December arrived. Like every year, my family organized the holidays. We have a family group chat where we discuss these things. But this time, instead of an invitation, I received a direct message from my mother. I think it is better if you do not come for Christmas this year. It would be awkward with everything that has happened. I froze. What the hell did she mean by that? I checked the family chat and saw my father and Yvonne talking about being mature and not causing a scene. I wrote to Claudia, and her only response was, I am sorry, this is the best I can do. I called her, nothing. Then I called my mother. She answered instantly and without beating around the bush said, do not be childish. They are in love. You need to get over it. I felt the floor open up beneath my feet. I asked if I was hearing correctly and she confirmed it. Yes, Yvonne and Claudia are together. It is serious. You should be happy for them. My brother took the phone and said shamelessly, she chose the better man. My father texted me separately, you were never enough for her. Stop playing the victim. I did not know what to feel. Not even rage, just emptiness. I took my things from the apartment, which thankfully were still in boxes because we were supposed to move in together after the holidays. I took everything to an acquaintance's apartment who had a spare room and did not ask questions. I sat in the car for 10 minutes without moving, just reading the messages over and over again. I did not reply to any of them. I just wrote something in the family group chat. Thanks for showing me who you are. Now it is easier to leave you out of my life. Then I blocked them all, Yvonne, Claudia, my parents. I was alone. I did not cry. I did not scream. I was completely numb. Then came the anger, an intense rage as I realized how long I had allowed them to treat me like an accessory to their convenience. Some friends asked if I was sure, if maybe it was a misunderstanding. But no, this time I saw it clearly. It had always been this way. They just did not bother to hide it anymore. Days passed and I did not go back to my parents' house. I found out from a cousin that Yvonne and Claudia went to Christmas dinner as if nothing had happened. No one said a word to them. My mother even posted a picture of the two of them with the caption, so happy for these two. I realized then that to them I was just an obstacle, the one who served as a shield when something went wrong. Yvonne gets what he wants. Claudia wants attention. And my parents just want to see their star son fulfilling their expectations. And I was disposable. There was not even an attempt to fix things. They just erased me as if I had never been there. And that hurts, but I am not going to sit back and do nothing. I am not made to give up. I have ideas. I am not going to break the law, but I am not going to disappear as if nothing happened either. Not this time. This is just the beginning. I am out. Yes, but they have lost someone too. If you have ever felt like me, just pushed aside, maybe you will understand why I am not going to stay quiet. It was not exactly silence. It was more that kind of silence where you know everyone is talking about you, but no one is talking directly to you. My phone would buzz occasionally with messages in family group chats, but none were for me. I saw posts from my cousin Elena about family moments, including that picture of Yvonne and Claudia at the Christmas table with my mother in the background, smiling as if she had won the lottery. After seeing that, I blocked them, but it was too late. The image was burned into my head. I was living among boxes in a friend's guest room. I could not even unpack. I had left half my stuff in the car because I did not have the energy to explain to anyone why my entire apartment was now in my trunk. My friend did not ask, and I was grateful for that. He gave me a key and told me where the towels were, nothing more. I spent my time scrolling through TikTok just to distract myself, though everything still reminded me of them. I ended up uninstalling the app. That first week I barely ate and did not talk to anyone. An old friend, Sarah, texted to ask if I was okay. I told her I was, even though it was not true, and she just replied with a thumbs up emoji. End of conversation. People do not know what to say in these situations. And I get it. What I struggled to process was how quickly my family turned their backs on me. It was not even about Claudia at that point. The real issue was how easy it was for them to take Yvonne's side. Deep down, I guess I always knew my parents saw him as the son with real potential. They always bragged about him, held him up as an example. When I came home with good news, the reaction was, "That is nice. But did you hear what Yvonne did? He was the brilliant one. I was the steady one." After the initial shock, I started to get angry, really angry. I realized that for years I had let them treat me like the spare son. I contributed at home, helped with bills, fixed the Wi-Fi when it went down, ran the heavy errands, all because I was reliable. My mother even said it to me once as if it were a compliment. But that reliability just meant I was saddled with the tasks no one else wanted to do. A while back, my parents asked me to co-sign some documents for a rental property they owned. Yvonne did not qualify on his own. So, like the good son, I agreed. Since then, he has been living there. My parents pay the utilities, and I was on the paperwork without seeing a dime. It did not bother me before. Now, it did. And Claudia owes me money, too. It is not a fortune, but it is enough not to ignore. Last year, we split several expenses, the move, some furniture we planned to use when we got married. She said she transferred her share to me next week. I am still waiting. At the time, I did not push it because I thought we were building a life together. Now, every time I see those old messages, I want to throw my phone out the window. That was the breaking point. I went from feeling like a sad loser to thinking, I am not letting this go. I cannot force them to love me, but I can stop making their lives easier. I opened my email and started going through invoices, receipts, messages about the rent, everything. I made a list. I was not looking for childish revenge. This was not about putting glue in their locks. I wanted to do something that would have a real impact on their money, their comfort, their reputation. I discovered that by still being listed as a co-owner of the property, I have the legal right to force a sale. If I want out, they either have to buy out my share or allow it to be sold on the market. Yvonne cannot afford that, and my parents are already under financial pressure from previous issues. Without my participation, they would be in a tough spot. I wrote a draft email to them. Hi, just to let you know, I am removing myself from the property. You have 30 days to resolve this. I have not sent it yet. I want to do it at the right moment. I am not letting Claudia off the hook either. I found every message where she said she would pay me. I took screenshots, organized them into a PDF and sent it to her. I wrote, "This is what you owe me. I want it before the end of the month." She read it and did not reply. Then she just liked the message. Typical. Some mutual friends started texting me, not all at once. It was more like, "Hey, sorry about what happened, but you should move on. They seem happy." What? I asked one of them, "Do you really think what they did was okay?" He replied, "I do not know, man." Yvonne said, "You guys were already on the rocks." That lit a fire under me. They always do that, twist the story to make it seem like I was the problem. I started sending them screenshots, not out of cruelty, but to show them how things really were. Most did not reply, but a few did. One told me, "I did not know it was like that." Another just said, "That is rough, brother. Nobody wants to get involved." My cousin Elena wrote to me out of the blue, "You could just let it go and find someone else." She has always been my mother's messenger. I told her I no longer wanted to be part of the family group. She replied, "Okay, but do not make it awkward for everyone." I asked if she did not find it awkward that they were the ones who excluded me. She sent me a long text about how complex families are. I left her on read. I am not winning friends with this, but honestly I do not care anymore. I started removing everyone from my social media who liked Yvonne and Claudia's posts. I also blocked those who sent me messages blaming me. My circle has gotten a lot smaller, but at least now I know who is really on my side. The most disconcerting part was seeing how easily Yvonne and Claudia moved in together as if nothing had happened. A neighbor told me they were already hosting gatherings at their place, acting like a couple from day one. My mother even brought them food during the first week, and my father did not miss a chance to brag that Yvonne had finally settled down. It seemed like they expected me to just disappear. But I am not going to disappear. I know exactly what matters to them. Security, stability, appearances, and if I start moving the right pieces, they are going to notice. I will not do anything illegal. I am just going to exercise my rights. I will not break windows or cause chaos, but I will not make their lives easy either. The next step was to draft and send an email regarding the property. I am also taking action with Claudia regarding her outstanding debt. I intend to make it clear to our mutual acquaintances what really happened, so they can not just change the narrative. I am not shouting it from the rooftops, but I am making it evident. I do not know how this will all end, but I am done staying silent. If they want to pretend I never mattered, I will show them just how wrong they are. This is just the beginning. And if anyone has suggestions on how to make sure they really listen, I am open to them. But what I do know is that I am not stopping here. I want them to feel it every day. When I finally sent the email about the property, I thought I would not feel anything. I was wrong. Not even 5 minutes passed before my father called. I silenced the phone and let it ring. Then the messages started pouring in. First my mother, then Yvonne, then my father again. "What are you doing? Why do not we talk first?" I left all the messages unanswered for hours. I went for a walk and listened to old playlists I had forgotten about. It was particularly cold that day, but it helped clear my head. I finally replied to my father, mostly because I knew he would show up at my place if I did not. He started with the usual, that I was being childish, that I was overreacting. I was direct. "I want out of this. I do not want to be your CO signer anymore. You have 30 days to buy me out or I am putting the property up for sale." He tried to argue. Yvonne, for his part, said he could not afford that expense. My father complained that I was putting the family in a difficult situation. I replied, "You already made your decision. Now live with it." My mother wrote to me shortly after. She did not even try to hide it. "You always do this. You complicate everything for everyone," she wrote. I replied, "I did not create this problem. I am just not going to clean up your mess anymore." She called me selfish. I turned my phone face down and made myself a sandwich as if it were any other day. That night, Yvonne called me. I answered because I needed to hear how he would try to justify it. He started with the classic, "Are you really going to do this? It is not that big a deal. We are family." I told him, "You cannot have it all. You cannot betray me and expect everything to stay the same." He got agitated, said I was ruining everything out of resentment. I replied that if he wanted freedom, he could start by getting a job and paying his share like any other adult. Then he blurted out, "You were just jealous because she chose me." I laughed and hung up. He called back. I let the phone ring itself out. The next day, I contacted Claudia. I sent her screenshots, the breakdown of what she owed me in a PDF, and a clear message. "I need the payment before the end of the month or I will take legal action." She took a while to reply. She just said, "Are you really going to be this cruel?" I responded with the details of the transfer. There were no more replies. My parents started texting me in a group chat to try and emotionally manipulate me. "We are your family. You are not like this. Why are you punishing us?" I did not respond. My cousin Elena called and told me everyone was talking about how I was dividing the family. I said maybe they should not have taken sides. She replied that it was not that simple. I told her, "Actually, yes it is." She hung up. In a group chat with some mutual friends, someone shared a story Yvonne had posted, a passive-aggressive message about loyalty and snakes. I just posted the facts, the evidence, without adding any commentary. Then I sent individual messages to some friends. "If you are still in contact with Yvonne or Claudia, that is fine, but do not bring their drama to me." Some left the group. One wrote to me and said, "I get it. I am sorry, it does not fix anything, but it does not matter." My parents started calling almost every night, sometimes one, sometimes both. My father tried to reason, then he yelled, even threatened to sue me if I sold the property. I replied, "Go ahead, I am within my rights, you should have thought about the consequences before." He hung up, furious. My mother tried the emotional route. She cried, said I was breaking the family apart. I reminded her, "That is what you did when you chose Yvonne over me." She hung up too. One night, Yvonne showed up at my friend's place where I was staying. The strange thing is, no one knew where I was. He pounded on the door, shouting. My friend opened it and asked him to leave, but Yvonne pushed past him. I came out into the hallway and he got in my face. He said, "You are not going to ruin my life over this." I replied, "Looks like you did that yourself." He pushed me. I pushed him back. My friend intervened and got him out. Before leaving, Yvonne kicked the door. After that, I got a message from my mother. Yvonne told me what happened. "Are you out of control?" I replied, "If he comes near me again, I am calling the police." She responded, "Do not threaten your family." I told her, "Then tell him to stay away." Something new came up every day. My father called to tell me, "You have no idea what you are doing. This is bigger than you." I replied, "Not my problem." My mother wrote, "You used to be the good son." I answered, "I still am. I am just not your doormat anymore." Claudia finally paid me, but only after I sent her a formal letter. She did it in 2 installments and then blocked me. I laughed when I saw her Instagram story a week later saying something about discovering who your real friends are. Very original. The property issue dragged on for weeks. My parents tried to convince me to talk at a family meeting. I told them there was nothing to discuss. They used old photos, memories, anything to make me feel guilty. It did not work. Finally, I received a call from their lawyer. This time it was serious. He tried to persuade me to reconsider. I replied, "This is not personal. It is a legal matter. They have 30 days or the property goes up for sale." Then my father called me screaming, telling me I was ungrateful, that he wished he had never made me a co-owner. I told him, "Now you know how it feels to be left out." He hung up on me. Some acquaintances started taking sides. Relatives who used to invite me to events stopped. An aunt wrote to me, "I hope you are satisfied with yourself." I blocked her. A few cousins reached out and told me, "We are here if you need to talk." I told them I was fine. A month later, my parents gave up. They could not buy out my share, so the property was put up for sale. Yvonne called me asking for more time. He said that if I took down the listing, he would start paying me rent, but it was too late. I responded firmly, "This is over. You have been living for free for too long. It is time for you to take responsibility." He answered in a hurt tone, "I will never forgive you for this." I just told him I stopped caring what you think a long time ago. The day the for sale sign went up in the yard, my mother sent me a message. I hope it was worth it. I did not reply. That night, I just spent my time watching mindless YouTube videos and eating fast food with a friend. He did not bring it up. We just watched bad movies and laughed for a while. Shortly after, I found out through a mutual insurance contact that Claudia and Yvonne had started fighting. Living together was not the paradise they had imagined. My parents, meanwhile, were stressed trying to manage the sale of the place without family acquaintances finding out. I saw some strange, sad posts on my mother's Facebook page, vague but clearly about their pain. The funny thing is, I did not do anything behind their backs. I simply stopped making their lives easier. I got tired of being the one who solved problems, who covered expenses, who kept quiet about truths or made up excuses. I just let the consequences catch up to them. By the 3rd month, the property finally sold. Yvonne had to move out. My parents lost the extra income that had benefited them so much. I received my share. Nothing extraordinary, but enough. Claudia had to leave too. From what I heard, she went back to her old place. The family WhatsApp group went completely silent. My mother wrote me a very long email talking about forgiveness and how important family was. I never opened it. I cannot say I felt good, but I did feel at peace. It was not revenge. I just refused to keep playing their game. Now it is their turn to learn how to live without me solving their chaos. I know some will say I was harsh, but you cannot betray someone and then act like nothing happened, and this is not over. I still have a couple of things to say before cutting off communication for good. If you have made it this far, you will know I have no intention of backing down. There is one last update coming, and it is a part one did not expect. I knew they were going to be upset, but I did not imagine how they would react when they saw their entire family structure crumble. Curiously, at first, everything fell into an awkward silence. No one said anything after the sale closed. It seemed they thought that if they ignored me long enough, I would get bored and come back. I did not. I stayed away, not checking their social media or answering messages. I thought that would be it, but about a month after the sale, it was as if they all suddenly understood that I had no intention of returning. The first one to try was my father. He started with short messages. "Call me. Got a minute?" I left them on read. Then he sent a long message about how family should stick together and that I was being stubborn. I replied with a single word, "No." From there, everything escalated. I got a call from my cousin Elena, who was talking a mile a minute. She told me she was worried about my grandmother, that my parents were arguing nonstop, that Yvonne had moved again, and that everything was a mess. I replied, "Not my problem." She asked if I really felt nothing. I told her not a thing. She hung up. Next, Yvonne tried to call me. I did not answer. He sent several messages. "Are you happy now? You ruined everything. I hope the embarrassment was worth it." I did not reply. He called again. I answered. He started screaming, so I hung up. He called back and left a voicemail where you could only hear him breathing heavily. Pretty childish, honestly. My mother sent a group message addressed only to her, my father, and me. You could tell she had been crying. She wrote, Please, you are all we have left. Nothing is the same without you. We want to get together as a family. I did not respond. My father tried again. Your brother made mistakes, but you are exaggerating. This can be fixed. I replied, there is nothing to fix. You already made your choice. My Aunt Sarah also called me. She said, you have to stop this. Your parents are exhausted. Yvonne is a wreck, and people are starting to ask questions. I answered, maybe they should have thought about that before. She got upset and said, you are punishing everyone for something that did not even involve you. To which I said, it always involved me. You just never cared as long as it did not cost you money. She hung up on me. Later, I found out from a mutual insurance source that Yvonne and Claudia broke up. She left, blocked him everywhere. She told some people that Yvonne was not who he claimed to be, and that my mother was unbearable. I am not surprised. Yvonne was always the favorite, but when he does not have someone to solve his life for him, he is not easy to live with. He tried to crash on a friend's couch, and the friend told him no. My parents now call me every day, literally every single day, sometimes multiple times, just to ask me to talk to them. My father even showed up one night at my friend's house. He stood outside calling my name. I did not open the door. My friend texted me from his room, your dad is outside. Should I call someone? I told him no. He eventually left. They also started sending long emails, entire pages talking about forgiveness, about how they only wanted the best for me, about how important family is. Every time I just click archive. At this point, I do not even feel like they are doing it for me, but for themselves to convince each other they are doing the right thing. I know the pattern. If they get me to come back, everything will go back to the way it was. Yvonne on top and me cleaning up the mess. It is not happening. The money from the sale hit my account 2 weeks ago. I used it to pay off some big debts and move. I did not give them my new address. My circle is small now. Just a few friends, no one from the family. The most incredible thing is how calm I feel. Every now and then I still get sporadic messages. My father even tried to make me feel guilty. If something happens to your mother, it will be your fault. I replied no. He said nothing more. My mother tried to act like before. We just want to talk. I replied, you talked enough before. I could list all the little moments, like when I saw Yvonne at the supermarket and he looked away, or when my mother tried to corner me at a gas station and I just drove off, or that long nonsensical message my father sent me about unity among men. But honestly, all of that is just noise now. I think they always saw me as the spare. They only miss me because I stopped being useful to them. Yvonne acted the way he did because they always made him believe he could, and my parents fed into it because he was the one they wanted to see win. I had to be the one to end all of this because they never would have. I am not trying to play the victim or looking for approval. I just made a decision that was long overdue. I did not do it for revenge or out of pride. It was a necessity. I closed that chapter without further explanation because sometimes silence is the clearest answer one can give. Now I am moving on with my life with less noise, with less baggage. And if you ask me if I miss any of it, the answer is simple. I only miss the version of me who put up with too much. That guy is gone. And honestly, I do not want him back. As the curtain closes on the personal story, let's look at the bigger picture. The personal details may differ, but the underlying lesson is a shared answer for many similar situations. Families are often presented as sacred spaces where loyalty should be unconditional, where forgiveness is expected no matter the wound. Yet stories like this reveal a harder truth. Sometimes the very idea of family unity becomes a shield that protects unfair behavior. In many households, harmony is preserved not by honesty but by silence, and the person who refuses to stay silent becomes the one blamed for the conflict. What happened here was not simply betrayal between partners or rivalry between siblings. It was the slow exposure of a long-standing imbalance, one where favoritism, convenience, and denial quietly replaced fairness. The protagonist did not suddenly destroy a stable family. He simply stopped absorbing the cost of keeping that fragile balance intact. When we look closely, the cycle becomes familiar. One person learns they will always be protected. Another learns they are expected to endure. Over time, that pattern becomes invisible because everyone grows used to it. The favored child is praised even when irresponsible. The reliable one is appreciated only when useful. And when a crisis arrives, the family often chooses the path that preserves comfort rather than the one that respects justice. The betrayal with the fiancé only revealed what had been quietly happening for years. The protagonist was valued less for who he was than for the role he played in holding everything together. When he finally stepped away from that role, legally, emotionally, and financially, the entire structure collapsed under the weight of its own contradictions. That collapse did not come from revenge, it came from consequences. At this point, I want to speak not only about the man in the story, but about something many of us recognize. Sometimes the most difficult act in any relationship is not forgiveness or confrontation, it is drawing a boundary. When you decide that you will no longer carry responsibilities that others refuse to acknowledge, people often accuse you of cruelty or selfishness. They say you are breaking the family. But the truth is that a boundary does not destroy a family, it reveals what kind of family existed in the first place. And I think you, as the reader, can feel the quiet shift that happened here. The moment he stopped solving their problems, the people who ignored him suddenly needed him again. That realization is painful, but it is also liberating. It reminds us that dignity sometimes requires distance, and that peace often begins the moment someone refuses to keep playing the role others assign to them. So here is the uncomfortable question that stories like this leave behind. If the people who betrayed you suddenly asked for forgiveness only after their lives started falling apart without your support, would you rebuild the relationship for the sake of family, or would you keep the distance that finally gave you peace?